right, so I am up here, and there's no way I can set up my normal camera that films myself, so I'm using my phone. I'm on a ledge way up here, kind of propped up as best as I can be, and to get up here was, it's not going to come through on the camera, but it's pretty freaking steep. And I can't even spread my tripod legs out, so I have to hold on to the camera the whole time. But the composition that I'm shooting is basically this dam that's in between these two rocks, which is, or I guess in this slot canyon, super sweet. And then I've got this road that also leads through the frame, and then the sun is setting, and I'm waiting until the sun crests that peak to give me that beautiful sunburst, which is happening right now. So I'm going to shoot that, and I'll talk a little bit more when I don't feel like I am risking my life by filming this. Whew. Well, as you can tell, the sun has set. I was up here on the sandstone doing my best not to fall off. My tripod was like this, and obviously I couldn't really talk very much or film myself or anything. I was taking bracketed f/16 shots to get that nice crispy sunburst, which I have a video that you can watch here if you want to know how to do that. But I was taking -2, 0, and +2, but I was bracketing all the way down to technically -4, -2, and 0, because I was exposing for my foreground, which was already dark, meaning my darkest exposure is going to get those tones in the sky and the sun. My brightest exposure is going to get all the stuff that's in the foreground. Also, I'm a little nervous while I'm talking here because the spot that I am standing in, right here, actually, I will show you. Let's do it this way. So, this is me filming myself. Right here is a solid, I want to say 2-story drop. So, if I happen to fall backwards, well, let's just say it's not going to be a good night. But anyways, back to photography. This is a spot I scouted and came with some family actually earlier this weekend that they brought me to, and we just came up to this. I had no idea it existed. I've never seen a single photo from here, and it was really cool because it's just this man-made dam in between these two giant rocks, and it's basically just a slot canyon, and there's a dam right here, and it's really sweet. And I was like, man, the composition is cool because the rocks that are also in the background and the road matches with the dam, and everything just lined up. And then I got the sun, hopefully right as it peaked, to get that nice sunburst, and everything just worked out really well. And so I drove back out here. I'm on my way back through Utah and stuff like that now. Pretty excited about this shot. It's pretty cool. Didn't have a lot of time to set up there and try to find the perfect composition because the sun was setting pretty fast, and it's set behind the mountains back there. But like I said, f/16 bracketed to get that extra data. It's definitely, I think I'm definitely going to need the brackets for this one, even though I haven't used brackets in a while. And pretty stoked for the edit. So here's the photo, and well, as long as I don't fall off this dam. Yeah, let's keep going. Probably sunrise tomorrow or something else. Thanks for watching. Man, this is fun. This is a cool spot. If you ever want to know where it is, maybe I'll tell you one day. Anyways, yeah. No. Not taking that for the camera. Nope. Good morning, everyone. It is currently 6:25, and the sun doesn't come up until 7:45. And I drove up to this little spot in Zion. It's just on the road, because shooting sunrise here is basically impossible for anything with the actual sun in it. I did a video on it that you can check out here if you're interested. But I knew that I really just wanted to be up here as the sun came up, take out my telephoto lens and shoot some shots. I'm at a spot where there's this cool road shot that I took for sunset on the way down here one time just on my phone. I'll put on the screen now. I'm just going to see what it's like. It's pretty overcast. I'm actually going to climb back into bed. I didn't sleep at all. Don't know why, just couldn't sleep. So hopefully I'm going to get another, I don't know. I guess it depends on what it looks like considering how overcast it is. But that's what I'm going to do. And maybe we'll get a shot. Maybe we'll just watch the sunrise. Later today, it's supposed to snow in Bryce midday. So I was thinking of driving over there and just seeing what that looks like. Even midday could be cool while it's snowing. So we're going to check that out, I think, and we'll go from there. All right, nap time. Obviously, the sun has come up. I didn't shoot anything. I laid in the back. I kind of kept my eyes open as the sun came up, and it was pretty overcast the whole time. Pretty much exactly like you see now. And I slept. I mean, I kept checking a little bit here and there, and I peered out the back window, and nothing was happening, so I just kind of enjoyed a little bit of a nap. I got maybe another hour, and I'm flippin' tired. But it's time to head to Bryce. There's supposed to be some afternoon snow, so that's where we're gonna head and see if anything turns out. And I need caffeine. Made it to Bryce. It's about 1 in the afternoon. Very overcast. There's been some flurries. Not entirely sure anything's gonna happen. I did a little bit of editing and getting pretty tired. So I think what's gonna happen is I'm probably gonna take a nap. And yeah, I don't know if anything is gonna come of it. I hope it snows a little bit more. Maybe we can get some interesting shots in about 2 hours. But we'll have to wait and see. Conditions are changing very quickly. So that's what I'm going to do. Nap time for sure, if you can't tell. So I had a lot of time until sunset. So I drove up to Rainbow Point. I've been here before, never tried to photograph it. But the light is really cool. There's all this cascaded light here in the valley. You can hear it's pretty windy. There's all this light hitting in certain spots. Just hand holding my 7200. Gonna take some shots. Also, if you're into or interested about this lens, I'm pretty sure this lens was the best photography purchase I've ever made, and it has nothing to do with image quality. So if you want to hear why, make sure you subscribe. I'll have a video coming out about that shortly. Anyways, time to shoot. It's windy, it's cold, my hands are freezing. Talk to you soon. Don't worry, your audio is still working. So, I have a minute-and-a-half clip of me talking into the camera like an idiot, not realizing the audio doesn't work. When I film on my XT4, I normally have an external mic plugged in that's currently plugged into the camera I'm talking to right now. What happens is, if it doesn't automatically turn on when I turn on the camera, then I just get no audio at all. So, that's what happened. I filmed for a minute and a half, I have no clue what I said. I can't remember what I said. The only tidbit of information that I remember saying is that if you're ever out shooting and your camera is on a tripod and it is windy, always take your camera off the tripod if you decide to leave it, which is what I'm doing in this clip that I'm putting on the screen now, where I take my camera off the tripod and set it down so that if you walk away from your tripod, nothing can possibly go wrong. If it does fall over from the wind, all you're gonna lose is your tripod and not your camera. That's the only piece of information that I can remember saying for this clip. The next clip you're gonna see is me talk about the composition, and the audio works fine from here on out. So enjoy. Sorry for the interruption, and let's continue. All right, so here's the composition. It's super simple. I have the rocks that I'm standing on right here. My tripod leg is like actually right out of frame right there. And then I have all the hoodoos in the background. And what this rock is doing, and you can't see, there's a little bit more on the frame to the left and right, but since it's in 16:9 when recording, there's a little bit cut off on the left and right. But what this rock is doing, or this ledge that I'm on, that I'm standing in front of or using in front of the hoodoos, is all of this area down here is just pretty plain. It's just like a hill. So it's actually covering that up really well and completing this composition that leads into these hoodoos in the background. And I love the snow. And honestly, like I said, I don't think we're gonna get any color, but if we did, it would light up the sky and reflect down into down here really well, and it would be pretty awesome. But that's our composition. I would focus stack one shot here at f16, one shot back here at f16, and that would pretty much cover the entire range I could possibly want. And that's pretty much it. That's the composition. If it doesn't work out, maybe we'll shoot this for sunrise. I haven't decided yet. So stay tuned. Well, there is a little bit of color in the sky, but I don't know if it's gonna make it over here. It needs to hit all of these in this direction. And yeah, pretty dull over here. And there's just a little bit right there. I don't think we're getting color in our shot. As you can tell, mostly expected, but there was a little chance. As you can tell behind me, there's definitely some color happening. I think what I'm gonna do is come back for sunrise tomorrow. I've actually shot an episode right over there that I never published because it just sucked. It wasn't complete enough, so I just have a bunch of material from there. So I know that shooting sunrise will hopefully, as long as there's clouds and the sun peeks through, all of this will light up and do exactly what we wanted to for sunset. It just didn't happen. So that's what we're gonna try in the morning. I'm gonna pack up, get warm, go get some food, make some food, one of the two, and I'll see you guys in the morning. If you're enjoying, you can like the video. If you're loving it, with all this great content of failed attempts at taking photos, you could subscribe, because there's gonna be a lot more of that. Thanks for watching.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to say that this ice is on the inside of my car. Oh boy, here we go. Got about 50 minutes until sunrise. Looks like we're actually gonna get something. So cross your fingers that the light will be good. We know a cloud's not gonna block the sun, pretty much, judging by the way it looks. And here we go. I'm gonna stay warm in my car for another 20 minutes.
Waiting for the sun to come up. Same exact shot as last night, so didn't really shoot any B-roll or anything like that to show off what I'm doing, because we're doing literally the same thing we did yesterday. I might, one caveat that's a little bit different is I am getting a little bit more of the rocks in the frame, and the reason for that is because the sky doesn't have a ton of clouds up above a certain point. So what I'm doing is just getting more rocks in the frame so that the sky that I do have in the frame is a little bit more interesting. Something else I might want to do is add a graduated filter on there, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to bracket and go with that, because the sun is coming up pretty fast and I'd have to take my filter on that's off already, or off that's already on. Sorry, I'm still waking up, and I don't really want to fiddle with that while I've got the shot set up and waiting. So, oh, it's cold. I'm gonna wait for the shot right when the sun comes up and hopefully add some color to these clouds and fills in down here. So stay tuned and talk a little bit more about the shot in a second. All right, so the sun has come up, as you can tell. We've taken our shots, and I briefly just wanted to talk about the composition one last time. One thing that I might get questions about is why my camera was so high when I was taking the shots. And the reason for that is because I want to balance between, when I record my composition, I want to balance between those hoodoos and the rocks that are in the foreground. So if I was lower to the ground, they would just take up way too much of the frame. And if I'm high enough up, I get a perfect balance between those rocks in the foreground and those hoodoos in the middle with the hoodoos in the background and the sun. So that's why I was so high up, is because the elements in the foreground I wanted to balance as perfectly as possible, because I think they're just as important as the hoodoos. And if I was lower to the ground, the rocks in the foreground are just they're gonna way too much. They're gonna be too heavy in the composition. They're gonna be too much of the focal point, which I don't want them to be. I want them to be an element there, but I don't want them to be the focal point. I kind of want the the viewer's eye to guide themselves through the composition, see the rocks in the foreground, see those hoodoos in the middle, and yeah. Hope that explains why I was so much higher on my tripod than you might be asking, or you might be asking that question why. And I think I'm gonna do a time lapse and voiceover of this edit. So here's me editing the photos we just took, and I hope you enjoy. Have a good morning. I'm gonna go get warm.
All right, so the first thing I did in this image was just check to see if I needed both focal points from my focus stack, shooting at f/16. I decided I didn't, and the one that was focused on the background was good enough, and the foreground was perfectly in focus, maybe just a hair off in comparison, but it wasn't worth the effort to try to focus stack them. Then what I did is I took those 3 exposures, along with an exposure where I was blocking out the sun with my finger, into Photoshop and blended them together using luminosity masks. I'm pretty light-handed nowadays when it comes to luminosity masks, but the most important one is just taking that dark sky from the darkest exposure and blending it with the rest of the image. Then I painted in using some parts of the highlights, little spots that you could see I'm doing right here. You can see that I'm adding just a touch of light to those spots that the light is already shining on. And then here's me blending out my finger from that image and using that particular one where I don't have the glare in the image in the bottom right corner and right next to the sun. I do eventually come back and fix that little spot next to the sunburst after I go into Lightroom, which you're about to see me do here. I go into Lightroom, I do some contrast editing, adding some dehaze, fixing some colors, and then ultimately adding a radial filter that kind of helps the viewer's eye know where to look in the image. And then I fix that radial filter's effect on the top right of the sky using another radial filter. And then I also add some masks for the sky and for the foreground. After it's all said and done, I think this is a great starting point for this image, but I definitely think it can be better. Maybe with some better conditions, maybe some more clouds in the sky, pinks in the sky, reflecting back into that valley to add some more drama would really help. But if I'm being really critical and trying to control the things that I can control, this composition is not as strong as it could be, even though I tried it for 2 different shots. I think realistically, I had the right idea in mind, trying to use that foreground rock to block out the less interesting parts of the valley in Bryce. But I think realistically what ended up happening is now it's just too busy. There's no separation between the ledge that I'm on and the hoodoos in the background, and it's kind of confusing to see perspective. You can't actually tell that the rocks I'm standing on are not the same distance away as the hoodoos, and it really just kind of makes it harder for the viewer to know where to look, which I tried to help in the edit using that radial filter to know the brightest parts of the image are right in the middle, but still it's a little bit too busy for my liking. So the next time I go, now I can use these references to say, okay, these are the conditions that I would like, and I'm going to try to find a better composition on this rock. Ultimately, I think that it's a really cool shot, and I think that there's more potential here, and it's something to learn from the next time I visit Bryce. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Here's the final image. If you like the video, as always, you can like it. If you love the video, you can subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again on the next one. Later.